Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Bruce Lundstrom. Next to me is my friend Missy Weiser, the mute.
Hi. You know if I'm supposed to introduce myself.
Well, of course you do. Come on, Missy, watch this show.
Hey, it's Missy.
I know.
Hey, Missy.
I bring you up all the time. And our guest today, Miss Kelly Paris.
Hello.
How are you today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in, Kelly.
Yeah.
So Kelly was worried that this won't go long enough, and I told Kelly.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I've known Missy for... Well, I don't remember not knowing Missy. That's how we grew up together.
A little bit of time.
Basically,
Yeah.
kindergarten-ish.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll talk for a while. So no need to worry about that. But
Well, if you could keep the camera off me, just kidding.
a lot of people say that, but then I think they get into it. So it's it'll turn out good. So nobody's been disappointed yet in the way they look or sound. So
I know. I'm excited.
okay, cool.
The real exciting part is waiting till it comes out. You're just waiting, going, okay, Larry, send me the email.
Yeah,
When am I up? When am I up?
Next.
So if you're new to the Bullhucker podcast, what we do is we bring a guest on. Kelly's going to tell us 3 stories about her life. The kicker is only 2 of these stories are true. 1 is not true. It's the Bullhucker. It's a fib. It's a lie. It's bullshit. So, Kelly,
Liar, pants on fire.
you have 3 stories you brought to us today. One of them is the Bullhucker. So is it made up? Did you borrow it? But it's not your story, but...
Part of it's made up.
Okay, so it's made up. Okay, so it's got a fake ending, right?
These are the ones I'm worst at.
Me too, actually. They're tougher.
Where it's like, well, that could be true.
Could very well be
there's
it.
that little 2% chance.
Right. Well, it's tough because since some of it's already true, I mean, you're going to tell it very well. So
Yeah,
it's going to throw us off.
excited.
It's going to throw us off the trail, right? So before we get started, Kelly's got a lot of cool stuff going on. You run a foundation.
Yeah. Yeah, I run Break the Silence. It is a Fort Morgan-based 501c3 nonprofit to raise awareness for mental health and suicide prevention.
What number was that?
Very smart.
What number was it?
501. Oh, it's the identification number that the IRS gives.
Oh, yeah,
for
it's the
nonprofit tax stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Well, are you a nonprofit?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Okay.
And there's so many different types of nonprofits, number-wise, like what you can do and this and that. So
How do-
it's like
It's
super
hard to get that-
confusing.
it's hard to get
I
that-
have a board
that
for the
status,
hard
too.
stuff.
Same with your legs.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you are. Okay. Because I have a Brush High School education, okay? And
I
Brush
have Morgan High School education.
So I don't know what any of that
It's
stuff
all
is.
about who you know, and I have a great team, so I got to give them credit for it because they
Okay.
keep me afloat.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
how does your nonprofit differ from other nonprofits?
It just is kind of like all in the filing. And like if you can waive taxes or whatever
Gotcha.
like that. So
And if
we
donations could be tax deductible.
deductible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can. All of our donations coming in are tax deductible. And it's a
Right.
cause-based nonprofit.
Right. Okay. Break the Silence is one of the stories you're going to tell today, so we're not going to get to that until after. And we'll-
I guess I'm naming the story Break the Silence, but it's kind of about my journey. After
Okay.
meeting a friend who helped change my viewpoint, and I attribute the success that Break
Okay.
This
the
is
Silence
sounding
has
like the true
gained.
story.
Well,
It's
no-
sounding like a true
I'm
story.
like, woo, we're
right
down to a
now.
50-50 guess.
Do you like how she snuck that down on you? That's good.
You're just gonna have to wait and
I'm
see.
just trying to get hints here. I'm more nervous in this seat than I was in the
Re-
storytelling seat.
Really?
Yes.
Actually, more people say they like this better than that.
No,
Because-
I wanna be
don't
over
like
there.
losing. I don't like losing, and I don't want to
Oh, you are
guess.
competitive.
I'm very competitive, and I don't want to guess the wrong one, and I'll just be like, "Oh, I should have known."
Okay.
But
All
which
right.
part isn't true?
It's tough. It's tough. My record on this is dog shit. It's horrible.
You have trouble guessing?
I'd be the worst cop ever, Kelly. That's what's going on.
I think this is what happened, but I was way off.
I'll be like, all right, guys, here's the deal. He said he didn't do it. I believe him.
He just looks so honest.
Give him the crack and the gun back. He seems like a good kid. You know?
Just a little bit of
If his
cocaine.
grandmother is baking with it, I mean, I think that might be true. I don't know.
She has glaucoma.
Yeah. So
Sounds like a reputable person.
yeah, I'd be a shitty cop. Unless you're in my area, then you'd love me because I'm like, okay, well, I mean, shit, that sounds legit to me, dude.
Pretty, you're fine. Just go home.
Yeah, you're free to go, fool.
We'll just give you a warning, okay? Don't do it again.
You
want
wouldn't
this-
be meeting your quota, that's for sure.
You want the slap on the hand or the ass? That's the only enjoyment I'd get, you know?
I love it.
Come at him. So, all right. Our 3 stories we have today, Kelly, are Tornado, Disneyland, and Break the Silence.
Yes.
All right. Missy, are you ready to tell some stories?
I like to tell stories.
All right.
I just like to talk. I get off track a lot, and then I'm like, oh, wait, we got to go back.
So
if we
wanna
need
go
to reel
back.
you back in,
Just
maybe.
be like, get back to that one.
So I mean, if it's like an ADD thing, then I think this might last a while. We're going to see one of us on a milk carton because that's all
You know,
of us.
I've
Will they
never been
deliver pizza here?
diagnosed, but I've often wondered,
Right.
do I have that?
What's that Pixar cartoon with the squirrel?
Squirrel.
Oh, up.
Up. Yeah.
The dog goes.
It's so
"Rah, rah,
funny,
rah,
you guys.
up."
If you look at my website and under the the information as far as like who my board members are and what the team is, my secretary, Tabby, she's so freaking awesome at like reeling me in. But it literally says on her description, glorified gopher and squirrel wrangler, and I am the squirrel. So it's like,
Did you put that without her consent, or is this just like a
Right,
stab at
yeah.
her?
Is this the
Like-
first she's going to know that it's on the website?
nope, she wrote it that way.
Okay.
We
Okay.
had them all write their own bios.
I hate to think right now she's going through your website going, fucking Kelly. You know?
So that bitch. No.
All right.
Yeah, it was so funny when I read it. I was like, dude, this is perfect. This is perfect.
Squirrel wrangler.
I love it. I love it.
Actually, a fun fact, Adam, he's usually next to me here, is terrified of squirrels.
What? I think they're so cute. I call them all
What
squishy though.
What did a squirrel ever do to him?
I don't know why.
They're so
I don't know.
cute.
Really cute.
You know, Abby asked me one time, my daughter, she's 8, she's the cutest thing. She asked me why I called the squirrels squishy. And I said, well, because, like, for example, there's one right there in the middle of the road and he didn't make it.
Right.
Squishy didn't make it. Run, Squishy, I say. That's so terrible, I know. She did laugh, though.
I'm going to think that every time I see a roadkill now.
Monster.
Every time you see a squirrel, you're going to think about Squishy. They're all squishy.
Monster.
I'm just being real.
Adam literally is not afraid of a lot of stuff. Like he's not afraid of heights. He's not afraid of shit. But a squirrel comes in and like that dude panics. You know what I mean? Like,
And they don't even like do anything to you. They're like just like you don't mess with them. They don't mess with you unless they're digging in your trash.
they got that weird look to him, but they're just like
sketchy.
evil. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. And he does have a pair of nuts on him. So I mean that might be what
He's afraid they're gonna get taken.
Adam might have had a bad drunk or a bad beef.
Well, if he leaves
nightmare.
them dangling out, then I guess
Yeah.
they're just free for the
Free
take.
for the take.
No, that dude wears a lot of shorts too. You know what I mean? So I'm just
He
saying,
ain't afraid.
there's a weird phobia there, Loki, you weirdo. But
It
that's
could be well deserved.
it well deserved. So, all right, Miss Weiser,
I'm the guest.
you're the guest, so you got to pick first. We got Tornado, Disneyland, and Break the Silence.
That's easy. Disneyland. 'Cause I love
Oh,
Disney.
cool. Okay, so I love Disneyland. I'm going to start there. My parents started taking us there when we were super young kids, and we go regularly. The last time we went, there was like quite a stretch between like the time that we had been and this last time we went. And we took my daughter for her 3rd birthday. It was the cutest thing ever, and it was actually her dad's birthday and her birthday are a day apart.
Nice.
So hers is the first, his is the second. He'd never been to Disneyland either, so like we got to take them there for their birthdays. And she literally, we were there for a week, I think, and we got like the park hopper passes where you could go
Best way
in
to
between,
do it.
you know, and get there early and all that fun jazz. So she literally remembers what ride she rode, what princesses she got to see, which one she didn't, Mickey's house, where it was at. She was bummed, you know, because she didn't get to see Daisy and Donald. It was so cute though. I loved it. Like we really need to go back. But yeah, we kind of just hung out there for a week and experienced all things Disney. And on our last day, we were, you know, open to close. Let's get it done. Let's make sure we see the fireworks for the last time. Let's ride all of our favorite rides for the last time. Get those, what are those passes where you can get, and you just like take a number and then you go back and you don't have to stand in line. You pick a time.
Oh, like
to
the
go.
Express Pass
Yeah,
kind of
that's what it
thing?
is,
Yeah.
or something like that. So we got those for our favorite ride, which I heard, unfortunately, that they're closing down Splash Mountain.
Oh, it's not Teacup.
Yeah.
Teacup wasn't where it was at.
Oh my God, dude, I
Ugh,
can't. Teacup is
bleh.
like, yeah, exactly. I get in that
can't
thing
do
and
the
I'm like,
teacup.
ugh, I look at it and I get sick.
Oh, me
Can't
too.
deal with it.
Me
It's
too.
it's the spinning around in a circle, merry-go-round. She's like, mommy, push me. No. She gets on there with her little leg and starts pushing herself. I can't do it. So yeah, I don't know. She loved the fireworks, still talks about them. She's going to be 8 on Sunday.
So this was
it's
5
been
years ago.
5 years
Okay.
ago, and she still remembers it. to a T, like everything that we did. She has her little book of signatures from all of the characters, pictures, all that fun stuff. And so we get our passes and we're systematically like timing it so we can ride everything one last time before the fireworks start on the little Huck Finn River or whatever it is. And we get to Splash Mountain and it's still like a wait, you know, but it's not like a super like 2-hour wait where you usually have to stand in line. So we get our park hopper or little like line hopper pass and we kind of walk in and we're doing our thing and we get to the line and kind of waiting and we hear some people like shuffling in behind us and, you know, I'm kind of just like talking away and then I turn around and it's freaking Danny DeVito. I was like, what is that? No, that's not. And then I'm like, okay, so you don't want to ask and you're just like, do you say something? But like then he starts talking to the people that he's with and I'm like, oh dude, it has to be. Like it has to be. Plus he's like 4 foot nothing.
I was just
kind of
gonna say.
distinguishable.
Like, my daughter is 3 and she's almost as tall as him. So
He's probably
I'm
come
like,
up to be like here on me. Yeah.
super
Right.
nice guy, dude. Just like super chill, shooting the shit or whatever. It was like it was cool. It was
That
like
is
one of the
cool.
coolest things. I was just like, hey.
Was he there with Rhea Perlman and their kids or just him
No,
by
he was
himself?
with like
or-
dudes. I don't remember the dudes. He was with like an older guy, like a gentleman, and then like 2 younger guys. So I should have been like, hey, are these your kids or whatever? But I didn't. I was like, I know that they got divorced or whatever, though. I don't know when they got divorced.
Did they?
They got divorced. But they're
They
still
could've,
friends.
yeah.
I don't know.
I guess,
Missy's
I
a
don't know.
pop culture stud.
I just thought
don't
they
know.
were the
Yeah.
cutest couple
They were
together.
Did they meet on Taxi or something like that? Like I don't
Cheers.
remember. Cheers.
Or was
That's
it
what it was.
Taxi?
I thought it was Taxi.
Yeah, I thought it was Taxi. Was his
You might be right.
back when he had hair? I don't know.
Yeah, let's not judge people with their balls. Okay, Kelly. Let's not. Okay.
It's only been 50 years.
Yeah.
Dude, you got hair.
I
don't know
mean,
what you're talking about.
barely.
It's there though.
But it's
But
getting.
the bald thing's in now. I mean, you
Yeah.
notice
It is.
that it's the shaved
It's like
thing
that
is in
shiny
now.
and go. Like
Yeah.
you get out, you give it some polish, and you head
You know,
out
like
the door.
The Rock
It's
and
in.
Vin Diesel.
Well, I mean, I started shaving it at 22 because it got ugly at 22. You know, and
Dude, I started dyeing my hair. I started plucking out my first gray hairs, which is bad. You're not supposed to do that, apparently. When I was 23 and see all this bright red, I love it. Redheads have more fun. I don't bleach it out. It's super bright
blondes
because
have
my
more
hair has
fun.
no color. Colorless highlights. It's all about, I mean, you got to be thankful.
I've told this story once already, but I'll tell it again. I've never dyed anything in my life, but I tried to dye this before a city council meeting, and I didn't realize it was going to dye my skin.
Oh my
So,
gosh, how did that go?
I went to the council with blackface. It was horrible. It was the
The
most.
city council meeting gives me such anxiety. I've never had to do one except for like last year because we wanted to do, you know, being a nonprofit, a newer nonprofit. We started Break the Silence, the Suicide Awareness Festival in 2017.
Right.
And we did it as a private entity and we rented the parking lot at the Elks. And so there was just really nothing that we had to run by the city except for getting their help doing the electricity and all that fun stuff. So, becoming a nonprofit, moving over to the park, asking for the in-kind services and stuff like that. Didn't realize that it was, and through COVID, obviously we had to have like a very strict social distancing plan.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I had a lot of help with that actually. If it wasn't for the help, it probably wouldn't have happened. But we go and we're the city council meeting and I think I'm prepared for this and I'm told it's going to be maybe like 15 minutes. They have a few questions, but you know, everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. 32 minutes later, they're still like grilling us like a well done steak. And they have so many questions on, you know, the beer garden and the business and you know what, it just so many. And I was hyperventilating. I was crying. I'm like, glad I'm wearing a mask. People can't see me like trembling like a leaf. And then it went great. Everybody was on board and it was just like a full unanimous vote. And
Nice.
I loved it. So this year I got all, okay, I'm mentally prepared. Last year it took this long.
It is
Right.
always the first time, yeah.
like 2 minutes this year. That was it.
Nice.
Golden. Amy has to actually go for me this week, the next meeting for our temporary event permit. And she's just like, I don't know what to do. And I said, dude, I promise it'll be fine. They won't have any questions. I actually ran into Steve Glenmeyer today and he's like, I'm all ready for you. So my sister's going to be there. She's worried about the questions. Oh, no questions, hon. We'll have you in and out. And I was like, great. She'll be so happy to hear that.
Nice.
So yeah, I can't imagine
That's the
dyeing my
Fort
skin
Morgan
right
City
before.
Council, by the way.
Yeah, I
that's
was gonna
very
say,
thorough.
that's not brush.
So that's not brush.
Yeah, it's just a great feeling to have the city backing us though. It's
Right.
like super amazing.
It's a great cause. So, but we'll get to it here in a little bit because I don't want to try and stomp on one of your stories.
It's
here,
not
so.
even part of the story.
Oh, okay. Well,
I can break the silence for like days.
Well, it's good to have the passion behind it.
That is.
I guess it could be part of the story because I got to go and where we started and all that fun stuff for the story.
Okay,
That'll
but-
be the longest one, I think.
Is that for Disneyland?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was our last night there, our last ride.
Did your daughter know who he was?
Negative. But I showed her
Okay.
Matilda and she was like, Mommy, I
Nice.
love it.
I'd have
So I
showed her
made movie out of
twins.
life.
I would have showed her twins.
She
Right?
just find twins.
Right,
Penguin,
twins.
like the Batman Return.
Right.
She's like, Mom, can I watch
That
that?
might have scared her a little,
And I'm
though.
like, no, dude, my kid is something else, let me tell you. She's not
What's-
afraid of anything but the dark.
What's
But I think she
the
gets that from
TV
me.
show he was on about in Philadelphia?
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's the greatest
I won't
show.
show her that.
No.
Oh, I just saw him the other day on the
It's
Kaminsky
so
Method
funny.
with Michael Douglas and
I've never
Alan
seen that.
Arvin.
I've never
it's
seen
good.
it.
It's pretty good. It's
But yeah,
It's got
I don't
dry
know. I
comedy.
just love twins though. It always cracks me up. And then what was that other movie? 9 Months. I don't think he was in that one though. It
No,
just
that
what's
was
his
just
name?
Schwarzenegger.
no, it Junior
Arnold.
when Schwarzenegger was pregnant and DeVito was his doctor/lab partner.
Pop culture badass.
I knew he was in the movie with the baby too.
Say they've done. I knew they'd done at least two
what was
movies
it
together.
called?
Junior,
Oh, okay.
because they named the baby that he was
thinking
growing Junior.
I was thinking 9 Months or whatever was the name of that movie. But you're probably right.
Yeah, Junior is.
Where he was prego.
Yeah.
By some weird.
It was-
so weird.
yeah,
I
that was
remember
science
watching that because
thing.
I was like a little bit younger, and I'm like,
You're like, men don't have
what is
babies.
that about? I'm like, okay, it's Hollywood, baby, Hollywood.
It's always nice to know when like you meet celebrities and they're cool. You know, they don't
Yes.
disappoint.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
DeVito would be a cool one to meet. It really
I
would.
would
That's-
love to meet him.
Yeah.
Meeting him would be like up there,
I
like
kind of
when
wish,
we
like-
met the Fonz.
Right.
Oh, you met the fun.
We met. I'm a big Comic Con person.
It's for me. It's bands and music. So when I meet a band,
Yeah.
I'm like when I finally met Shinedown after like fangirling over it, I started crying. Like I
Really?
literally was talking to my idol, Brent Smith, sexiest fur man alive. Sorry, everyone else, but just saying, like he's my cup of tea right there. I have a full Shinedown sleeve, lyrics, logo, signatures, all of it.
Nice.
But I paid for the meet and greet. I saved up the money for like over a year, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know they go through and like they talk to everyone like on a one-on-one basis. You can raise your hand. He came in and Brent was like, sorry, everyone's running behind, but I'm here. I'm gonna explain to you how it goes. Sorry we made you wait, because we waited for like 45 minutes.
that sounds about right.
And I was like, didn't know what to expect. And he kind of introduced himself and like went, through the spiel of what they were going to do. And he said, so we'll just take open questions now. If anybody has, a question that they would like to ask. And it was like crickets. Nobody raised their hand. And I'm looking around and I give it probably like 30 seconds. And he said, well, if nobody has a question, then we'll just move on to the next part of the meet and greet. I flew my hand up so fast.
Right?
I thought I
I'm
was
like,
gonna
you gotta
fall
stall
over.
him out.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, hon. What? He's like, what's your name? And I told him, and he's like, what's your question? And I was just like, well, no joke, like I packed my bag with like all my Break the Silence stuff, shamelessly plugging my own show.
That's how you gotta do it, man.
And they were like very receptive of it. Super like, reach out when you're a nonprofit and we'll talk. So anyway, I go to open my mouth and I just started like sobbing. Tears were pouring out and I was so embarrassed. And like the people next to me were just like, because I'm in there by myself, because
well,
my
at least
sister
you
went to
spoke
the
up.
concert
They have
with
got
me.
no room
but-
to talk.
Yeah, he flew across the room so fast, and he was like instantly like in front of my face, like with his hands on my shoulders, and he was like, "It's okay, it's just me," and I was like. He's like, can I give you a hug? Will that help? And I was like,
Not really, but okay.
I was like, sure. Ooh, he smells good, He's probably 5'10", perfect height for me. Yep, this is getting great. But like, he started talking to me and was like, what is it? And I said, he's like, what do you do? What kind of question did you have? And I told him about Break the Silence, and I was like, I'm just kind of curious if you'd be playing a one-off show in a little podunk town. And he was like, this sounds great. You're doing this by yourself? And I was like, yeah.
Me and the squirrel handler or whatever.
Yeah, the squirrel wrangler.
Squirrel wrangler.
This was like before I got my nonprofit. So yeah, she's helped me from the very beginning, but like
Nice.
she wasn't the squirrel wrangler there. She was just like a top tier volunteer. Well, they're all volunteers, so.
Well, whoever does Bobstock, go talk to her now. She can. She's got the hookup for this guy.
Let me ask you this: the guy from Shinedown,
Yeah.
who smelled better, him or DeVito?
It had to be Brent Smith because I
Oh,
didn't
man.
get hugging up on
How
you.
You
dare
don't
you?
think she'd be
How dare you?
prejudiced?
And I'm like, dude, like he's a little bit out of my age range.
Who, DeVito?
Just a little bit. Yeah. He's like old enough to be my grandpa.
I mean, he still might smell good. Doesn't mean he starts at 55. He
Plus,
just
it
starts
was
smelling like
August
garbage.
in California,
Okay.
and so it was probably like a good 105-day
All right.
heat.
Ugh.
So yeah, Brent Smith smelled like nicer, but they were all super nice. All those guys. Like at first, I was like, I thought you'd all be taller though. I mean, I didn't say that. But
That's a horrible thing
when
to
they're
say.
on stage, and I'm just like, they're looking like giants, and then when you're on their level, and they're like level.
Right.
I was like, does the stage add 10 pounds too? You guys are looking really good.
Right. A couple years ago, when I worked for Budweiser, I regret saying this now, but Mencia, we went to go see Mencia at the Budweiser Event Center, and I was at a meet and greet
Yeah.
with him, and this dude comes up to here on me,
Oh my God.
and I want to be like, "Oh, Carlos, you so cute, look at you.
you're so
I
cute.
can pick you up and just burp you." And
Dude, I love comedy too. I love it.
you have Vinny Montez coming this year.
Yes, right?
Yeah,
It's the
Vinny.
first time that we've been able to integrate comedy into it. And
Right.
actually got to thank John Caper for that. Because he messaged me one day and was like, I don't know, if you've heard of this guy, but it might be cool. He gave me like a little link, and it was him
Yeah.
doing something for the first responders or the,
Yeah.
the police department. And I was like, cool, I'm going to reach out to him. Put it in the backpack, never went back, I
Yeah.
just, it's like, gets so like focused, hyper focused. So I run into him one day at the UPS store, and he's like, hey, did you reach out to Vinny? And I was like, oh, shit. I didn't do
Right.
that. So I just did the contact us on his website, and the guy replied, like his manager replied through Comedy Works like 15 minutes later. It was like, here's the rate. And I was just like, oh,
You're like, did I
that's
mention
a
we're
rich for my
nonprofit?
blood. Well, I'm like, we're volunteer everything out here, and we don't have a huge budget. So he was like super accepting of our offer, and I was blown away. I was just like, that's a huge, show of support and like true piece of character to say like, I still want to help you out. And so no live streaming that day, no videos, because he's doing all new material for it. So yeah, you
So
gotta check that out.
next year, give me a call.
Definitely.
I can figure that out for
All
you.
about it.
About the
all
comedy
about
stuff.
it.
I know a few of them. We've booked Vinny a lot. so.
I had never seen him, so I was like trolling his page or whatever
Right.
and look at the videos.
Right.
My daughter was like, Mom, stop. Because I was laughing so hard. She's like,
Right.
Mom, seriously? And I'm like, the millennials are being cops now. That one. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I don't know why I was like getting the text message.
Right.
Poop emoji. Poop emoji.
Right. He tells a bit about how in Boulder, these kids, he pulled them over or whatever. And so he gave him, oh, I'm sorry, there was a fight or something.
Yeah, it was a fight. And he
Yeah.
was like, hey, you guys can give me a statement. And he was like, no, bro, but I can text you.
Yeah. And they just kept getting weird texts like, hey, we're going to go to the liquor store. Where are you at, Popo?
We're leaving the bar. Where are you at? He says, what was it though? I died laughing at that part because he's like, yeah, I can send you a text message though. So he's like, all right, here's my number or whatever. And then he's like, we just leave the scene. About 15 minutes later, I get a text and it's all, yo, Popo, I ain't no rat, biatch.
Yep.
I kept replaying it for everybody I knew too. My daughter was finally like, Mom, seriously, stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
he's
I'm really
pretty great.
excited to meet him and have him out because I think everybody loves comedy. How can you not? It's just
Right.
funny.
Right.
How can you not?
He does well. All right, miss. So what do you think about that story?
I want it to be true.
Okay.
I really do because I love
know,
Danny
right?
DeVito. He's just so like he's
Who
cute.
doesn't love Disneyland? And there's all kinds of famous people everywhere, crawling all over California, dude. For
Right.
real.
Right. So there's always stories you want to be true. So that's,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll see. So the one I really want to hear is to break the silence, but I'll save that one for last. So
Cool.
let's hear tornado.
Cool. Okay, so I was like trying to Google the date, and I came up with the date because I'm like, this is it. It was in '96 because it was like right before my sister and I's freshman year of high school. And it was the last day of school, and because we're always getting into some shenanigans. I know you know me and my sister.
I know you're
Always
your
some
sister.
kinds of shit. We were,
And you went to school here in
yeah, in
Morgan
Fort
County,
Morgan.
from Morgan.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude, we were assholes.
The Harris twins.
Yeah, exactly. The Harris twins. I still get called that.
That's what I call you.
It's true. It's so funny. But we were grounded, of course, for some shenanigans. And we were supposed to be in our separate rooms. Mom was out running some errands, So, like, Amy's supposed to be in her room over here. I'm supposed to be in my room down the hall, thinking about what we've done without our video games, without our VHSs,
Of course.
We're in trouble. And Mom had, got us from school or whatever and was like, I'll be back and you better be in your rooms and no more, more bullshit. So, like, Amy comes into my room and we're playing freaking rummy and just messing around like we shouldn't have been, messing around.
How old are you in this story? You're playing rummy.
I was going to say rummy.
Dude, my grandpa was the coolest, and he always played card games. We always played card games, and not like, betting or, drink. He got turned them into drinking games as we got a little bit older. But I remember just like being like, oh, well, the video games are gone. The TV's gone. Like, there's nothing to do. We're in
That's
trouble.
true grounding, so you're kind of limited.
It was like hit or miss because, like, it was either like we were at each other's throats or we were besties. You know what I mean? And so, like, I don't even remember what we did to get grounded, but, like, yeah, we were in trouble and weren't supposed to be. I think it was actually we were still grounded from going out and, like, getting caught drinking the first time we were allowed to go out. And Mom was like, no going out of town, no drinking. And the first thing we did was have our car drive through the liquor store and then head out to the freaking ravine and party down. We got busted. So I'm pretty sure I might have still been grounded for that. And Amy comes into my room and we're like playing the cards or whatever. And we hear this noise. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, is the neighbor's house on fire? Or like, what the hell's going on? And we're like, I don't know. So we kind of like, we're peeking out the window and we don't see anything. And we go upstairs and it's loud, like a loud siren. And it was a tornado siren, which we figured out after we looked out the picture window and seen this tornado. And it was literally 5 miles south of my parents' house, an unobstructed view because my parents live on the edge of like.
They live in the country.
Well, they live on the edge of like development, and then it's like farmland.
Gotcha.
It's a ditch, and then it was farmland. There's still no houses in front of them. It's like a great view to the south.
Nice.
So we see this, and my sister, I don't know why, she's a trained weather spotter. She's always loved weather. So she was like, oh my God, dude, it's a tornado. Oh shit, look at that. And so like, this was back in the day where my dad had a VHS. So we're like a camcorder or whatever, like one of the big ones where it's like on your shoulder. And she's like, get the camera. Oh my God, this is so cool. So we're like trying to call back when they had bag phones or whatever. Mom's not answering her bag phone that's plugged in the dash, So
Maybe she's already used the 5 minutes that it's actually got the battery for that day. You know what I mean?
it was plugged in. It was always plugged in because it didn't have a battery.
I'm telling you though, Kelly, if you plug that into your car and you're driving, you pick up the phone and use it, it'll kill the car. It'll drain every ounce of power.
You have to choose. Do I want to
so
talk
funny.
or do I want to drive?
Right.
I remember that thing too. It was so funny, but like, Mom's not answering the bag phone. Dad's not answering the shop. We're going outside with the video camera, bro. And like, so we're climbing literally out the back, off the back porch onto the roof of the garage and then over on the roof, scanning around, just like videoing it. And it was one little like rope tornado. And then all of a sudden another tornado comes out and they like converge on the bottom and they wind up like nobody got hurt or killed or anything, thank God. But
I was just gonna throw in
it
there,
wound
kids
up,
don't do
like-
this.
Yeah, don't do this at home.
Yeah.
We didn't fall off the roof or
Yeah.
anything. And like, I'm a spoiled kid, not gonna lie. We always had like the coolest shit ever. But my
Right.
dad had gotten me, the 442, the red one that I drove, the red and black
okay.
W30. Got me that when I had turned 14, so like 8th grade year, and we had been like, spoofing it up, take the interior out, sand it down, get it a paint job, all that fun stuff. And
Daughter of a body shop
yeah,
guy,
my
by
dad
the way.
owns
if
a
you
body
can't-
shop,
Okay.
Larry's
Okay.
Auto Body. Gonna throw that out there. 45 years of
Right.
doing it. So yeah,
Right.
we always had the cool shit. So Amy and I, knowing that we're gonna get in trouble, but like being awestruck on the roof, not wanting to stop video the tornado, and we actually got it where they came together. And it hit a farmhouse like south of town.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, all this debris and shit flying, and we're like, oh my God, look at this. And we have this way of like taking the video camera around and like documenting our shenanigans all the time anyway. So I don't know. I kind of want to get the tapes now and go back and watch them. But
Well, of course.
not my mom, but my dad pulls up in my car because like obviously we weren't inside answering the phone.
Right.
Obviously.
And I see him coming around the corner before he sees us. And he's like, get down. Oh my God, what are you doing up there? Get in the car. So we take the camera and we're like driving around town. It's hailing. It's raining. We're trying to get away from this thing, meet up with Mom. It was just like the craziest experience with this VHS, and it was so fun though, like bonding moment.
And you said
What
it was
are you guys doing
96?
number what? I think it had to be 96 because I
Yeah.
graduated in 2000 and it was the
We
summer
were in
before.
Pueblo both, weren't we?
Summer before
I
my
moved-
freshman year.
To Pueblo in 96 in November.
Okay.
And
So
she said bag phone. Cell 1, right?
Yeah.
Cell 1.
Cell
right?
1. You want to hear a funny story about Cell 1?
All
Okay.
right.
Like, I found it going through my mom's desk where they had the pamphlets, and we were in the picture. We were in the pamphlets. It was like my family or whatever got chose to be in the pamphlets. And it was my dad, on the phone. It was my sister like leaning over. I'm like in the car with my phone. Like, how safe is that? And it's like in the pamphlet.
Nice.
And,
Nice.
yeah, so it was Cell 1. We were in there advertising or whatever. Driving and talking. Now that's illegal. Like,
Right. But 96, completely safe.
it was cool. Yeah, they didn't care. It was me and my hot rod and my sister, and we're both on the phone.
Nice. We took
Behind the wheel.
we went to ACDC. I took Tish in
man.
96.
Sweet.
Best concert I've been to. But I took Mom's back phone to the concert.
In case you broke down on the
Yeah,
way.
literally. So we had to call Tish's parents when we got there. You know what I mean? Because Wayne wanted to know. And
We're here. We didn't die.
man, you turned that thing on in the car and it looked like God just stepped into the room. It was like, so much light. I was like, oh my God, my eyes,
They're burning out of my skull.
Right. So, Chris Rock has the joke about the what are those phones, the rotary
phones, yeah.
That was a bag phone. He like 842. The thing was huge, man.
75309.
It was Vanna White time. You're just like, So,
My grandma had one of those too on her wall. It was like the rotary where you pick it up and then the dial was like in the middle with the big old long cord that
Right.
would travel around the entire living
Right.
room and kitchen.
right.
Yeah.
You strangled yourself with and tripped over in that damn
Oh, yeah.
cord.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I showed and it's totally truth. It's so funny because I finally showed my daughter not that long ago the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Okay.
In the beginning when the daughter's like going, making breakfast or whatever, and then she hangs up the phone and she's like literally hung up in it. And Abby was like, that's so stupid. That doesn't happen. And I was like,
Oh, yeah, it did.
we're not alive in the late 80s and the 90s.
Right.
It did absolutely happen.
Right. Right.
She's
Yep.
like, they have the phones don't have cords on them, Mom. They're all cells. And I was like, haven't you? She hadn't even seen a landline ever.
My mother still has a landline. It's hilarious. She refuses to get rid of it. So
My mom has
That's
a
it, my
landline
folks do too, but they never
for-
answer it.
They don't answer it either. It's for the ADT backup.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right, Miss. 2 stories down. Do you have a front runner? Or no? What do you think about that story?
I don't know. She was
Again, I want it to be true, but
Seems pretty shady though, kind of unsafe.
was
The
just
grounding part though.
I didn't live here in '96, so I don't know what the storms and stuff around then.
There was
I
like
feel
tornadoes
like we
back
had
then.
a few that year.
But we've always had a lot of tornadoes out here.
I was
I always
working
worry
at
in the
Wendy's.
country.
I was working at Wendy's, and the what you're supposed to do is, as the night manager, I had to walk around and tell if there were people in there. I'm like, look, tornadoes just touched down. You have to either go or stay. I'm locking up, right?
Yeah, go
And
or
if
stay. Get in the walk-in.
These
Because Wendy's is
assholes-
surrounded by glass,
glass.
all around.
That's the last place in the
These
world. Yeah, if these assholes stay, I have to stay with them.
Yeah.
If they go, we could went to the Scotch and Steer because they let us go in the basement, and I was
Yeah.
old enough to
Like,
drink. So
Run across
you
the
know,
street.
have a beer and be like, you
And
guys
I
need to
suggest you
clean.
go.
You guys
Yeah.
get your asses across the street.
So, but there was 2 or 3 times where, and then there was an older couple, and I'm like, okay, well, let's go in the damn bathroom. You're old. You've lived your life, you bastards. You know what I'm saying? I gotta stay here and die in a Wendy's.
Yeah, speaking of tornadoes, Abby's like, Mom, they don't touch down here. Tornado Alley is in like Oklahoma. Well, we were living in Brush when that tornado went through Brush here, like 2 years ago,
Yes,
3 years ago,
yes,
something like that.
yes.
And we were living on Cambridge Street, and my best friend, gotta throw that out there, Sammy Joe, she had bought a house like 7 houses down from mine. And I could see the storm. I was working in Morgan, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I called my hubby at the time. We were still married, and we were living at the house in Cambridge. And I'm like, you need to get down in the basement. And he was like, we're not home yet. It's just raining pretty hard. And he's like, the sky is real green. And I'm like, get your ass home and get in the basement. This shit is for real. And he's like, you're always on that weather bug, whatever. Like, but I'm like, no. Like, the tone of my voice, he could tell. They flew home. They went in the basement. Turns out it was a tornado, and my best friend calls me, and she's like super upset, and I'm like, what happened? I could tell that she was like in shock, and I'm like, what happened? And she's like, a tornado just hit our house. And I'm like, whoa, bro, you are like half a block down from us. Shingles flying off, like all kinds of, there was hail, all kinds of, just tree branches down and everything. So like I pull into my house, I go in, hubby's fine. I walked down there and a huge, massive tree had like crushed their entire backyard, bounced off the back of their house, took the rain gutter out. I think it was somewhere like $35,000 worth of damage to their concrete fence. They had like a cool like
Wow.
cinder block fence, and
Right.
it crushed their kids' trampoline, all of the outbuildings that her husband had just dug a big old pond and had all kinds of cool like fish and stuff in it. No, totally
You
crushed
see
all
the
of it.
koi floating around.
Yeah,
Right,
it was
right.
it was bad, and I remember like taking a picture next to the tree that had fallen, like with the roots had to be probably like a good 60 to 70 feet.
I think I
across.
remember seeing that picture on Facebook.
Yep,
when you
I
put
posted it on
yeah.
Facebook. Yep, that was so crazy.
Um,
So yeah, tornadoes are real.
when that tornado
Important.
hit, my friend Loranda, you know Loranda, you guys. Anyway, she's a psycho with that stuff. She loves it. She's outside gawking. She's that idiot outside
Yeah,
gawking.
like
you
me and
know.
my sister.
I just say,
Yeah, yeah.
With the
So
VHS.
storm chasers over here.
so I remember I was at Mom's house doing something, and the wind was just blowing like crazy, and it was raining. Remember that? So
It was loud.
the firefighters couldn't see the sky, so they couldn't tell. Right.
Where-
so
yeah.
there was no
So at first they thought it was
siren.
like a microburst or something
Right,
like that.
right.
No, it definitely
So
wasn't.
I go, that's weird. So I call Loranda, right? Because I know she's out looking at this damn thing. And when I go, Lou, what are you doing? She's like, I'm in the basement, Larry. What are you doing? I mean, where you at? I'm like, Mom's house. She's all, go get cover, Larry. And I'm like, oh, shit.
We ain't even outside. We in trouble.
I go, Mom, get in the bathroom now. 'Cause Mom doesn't have a basement. She's like, what's the matter? I'm like, if Loranda's worried, we should be worried. That's
If she's in the
She
basement,
lives in
we
Brush, your mom.
should.
Yeah.
Does she live in Brush?
Yep, yep. She lives by me, like 2 cul-de-sacs down. So yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm like, if Loranda's freaked out,
Yeah.
We should be
she's
freaked
not even
out.
outside jacking around.
right, yeah, she's not
means
like gawking at the
business.
thing. As I always call her when there's weird
She
weather,
means
I'm like,
business.
what's going on, Loranda? And she knows. You know
I'm
what I
gonna
mean?
have to
So-
get that number.
Oh yeah.
Well,
oh,
because
yeah.
I live out, 4 miles south out in
Oh,
the
yeah.
country, and
You
I don't
get a
have a
good view.
basement. I mean, yeah, you
get
get a
a
good
good
view,
view,
but I don't have a basement, so it's
No
like
storm cellar.
if you
no
get
potato cellar.
no, you go in the
Kidding.
middle. It's a double wide modular, so you're supposed to like go in the middle of the hallway or something.
Right.
Bathtub. Probably
And I'm
the
like,
safest
okay,
place.
great. So I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to wrangle my 4 dogs up and get them to stay.
She got 4 wieners at the house, so that's a
Oh,
lot.
I
of,
got a big black wiener of my own. His name is Sebastian. He's 12 and a half.
That's a lot of
And
wiener
I'm
flying
always
around.
like, I love
Wieners
wiener
are
dogs.
good, but you don't want them flying wieners.
No,
No.
he's so old now. I call him my grumpy old man. Like had a couple scares or whatever, but I ain't ready to let him go.
Yeah.
He's hurt his back a couple times, and like he's not fat either. I
Right.
keep that.
No, but
boy
they're jumpers.
trim.
Mine think
Yep.
that they're cougars. They
Yeah,
like to
he'll
jump
go up the
around the
doggy
couches.
stairs,
Yeah.
but he's scared going down because they're too shallow. So he always falls down
Yep.
them. So then he jumps. So now he'll sit at the bottom of the bed, and I'll have to pick him up. And if he's like laying still, that's fine. But if he starts moving, nope, I put him back down. He'll sit at the chair at the bottom of the couch, like wagging his tail, because he used to be able to jump up on the couch.
Yep.
But he'll be like,
Yep.
and I'm like, okay, I'll bring you up, but you gotta chill because it's chill time, it's movie time. But if he'll like burrow in and he's fine because he likes to be under the covers, like in my
Oh, yeah,
knee pit
that's
or my
another wiener
armpit or
thing, yeah.
whatever, And I have a Chihuahua too. She's the same way, the yippy little bitch though. I mean, I love her, but total bitch.
My mom's got 2 chihuahuas.
Snugglers. She gets this
And
thing
they are
where like,
definite barkers.
if she's jealous of him because I'm petting him or whatever, she'll come over on me and she'll get right up here in my face and she'll take her twig legs and like stick it right here and be like until I give her loves and then she'll be fine.
It's like, Mom, me.
But sometimes I'm like, chill. I'm with Sebastian. He's my bro. He's been here for 12 and a half years. I've had you for 3.
Mom
You're
likes
an
the big black
adoptee.
wiener.
He's mine.
You're number 2.
I always have to. The truth is, he's my ex-husband's dog, but he can't have dogs at his house. And so I'm like, he's my dog. I get to keep him so selfishly because we've had him since he was a puppy. But I know that like he chose Nick as his person. So like if he had. If he had
If
his
he had
way.
got to choose, yeah.
But like, sorry, thanks, Mom, for renting me the house. Let me have pets in your no pet rental.
Right.
I love
Exactly.
you.
Nice. I want to go to live with Dad. He says I want to go to live with Dad.
He
so.
does. I know it's sad. And, like whenever I'm out of town, like Nick will come over and like take care of him or whatever. And yeah, so he gets
Okay.
to spend quality time. We co-parent the dog and the kid. We're still good friends.
You didn't take the dog to Disneyland?
Nope. I'm going to Disneyland. Remember
So
that song? I
is-
played it for Abby. She's like, Mom, this is stupid. I'm like, whatever. This was the shit back in the day.
I grew up poor, so I didn't go to Disneyland.
It was like so cool the first time we went. I remember it like that, everything. And I was so excited. I'm just totally telling this Disneyland story to you because like my kid does it all the time. And my mom will be like, you are your mother's daughter. And I'm like, Mom, seriously, that was one time. And I was excited. We were at Disneyland. But like, and Dad is having the VHS the whole time, videoing us. We probably would be like 8 or 9, something like that, 7, 8, 9, somewhere. I don't remember. But my pants were on backwards. And it was back in the day when they were like the elastic pants,
Okay.
And they had the pockets. So they were like
I was gonna
parachute
say,
pants in a
how?
way. So, but they had like a seam, down the front. So you could tell it was the front. And my mom's like, we're halfway through the day. And she's like,
Are your pants on backwards, dear?
your pants are on backwards. So
Hey, crisscross your pants.
crisscross applesauce. Yeah. And I'm just like, Mom, seriously, I don't tell everyone that story, but I totally just told everyone that story.
You did
No,
anyway.
that was an old guy reference. Crisscross was the rap group.
Yeah, I
You
remember.
Okay.
Wore their clothes backwards. Yeah.
Yep,
Jump.
crisscross, and then what was it? It was like MC Hammer pants
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I owned them all.
I had some too. And those freaking Bermuda jam shorts or whatever they were.
Bermuda shorts, yep.
Jam shorts. Brightly colored fluorescents.
Oh my
LA
God.
gears.
Oh, yeah.
My mom had us the cool shit too.
Z Cavarici. I remember.
Oh,
all
I remember
shit,
that
yeah.
too when Calvin Klein came out and was a thing and it was like super expensive. Now they give it away at Ross. I'm like, I paid good money for that shit back in 1999.
Oh, starter jackets.
Yeah, dude, okay. I'm a hoarder. I still have my starter jackets from middle school. And we wanted a starter jacket. And it was back in the day when you couldn't get them for Christmas time. And my aunt and uncle, bless their heart, they freaking got us whatever. We were spoiled. And I remember I think my mom got us a windbreaker. And it was the Charlotte Hornets. They're not even a team anymore.
Of course, it was a Charlotte Hornets. That was
And,
huge back in the 90s. Remember?
Yeah, purple and teal still my favorite
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah.
Break the silence, purple and teal all day long. That's suicide awareness colors. But I still have mine, and it had my name embroidered on it, so nobody could steal it. And then the actual pullover starter jackets with the flip up Velcro pocket.
yeah.
Phoenix Suns. They're not even a team either, I don't
Yeah,
think.
they are.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep,
I
they
still
are.
So
have
that's
it.
like memorabilia
Yeah,
stuff now.
I still have it. Got it in like 8th grade. So
Actually, Phoenix was in the finals. They got beat by Milwaukee. But yeah,
cool.
they're
I
still
don't
a
watch.
team.
I don't watch sports at all. I haven't had
Yeah.
cable for 8 years.
Yeah, me neither. But
No football, no baseball, no basketball.
Yeah.
Unless I'm going to the stadium, and then it's a whole different ball game because
Right.
it's actually like the
Live is better. Yeah.
atmosphere.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love baseball. I used to play softball all the time, but
right.
can't watch it. I get bored. I'm like,
Yeah.
All right. We got one more story.
moving on up.
Moving on up.
Has it been an hour?
42 minutes.
Oh, sweet.
I told you it flies.
We're gonna cut it down.
All right. Break the silence.
Last one.
So, guys, I could talk Break the Silence all the day. It just excites me to know that I have so much support for it. So I started Break the Silence in 2017, the first annual Suicide Awareness Festival. And basically, I started it because I saw a disconnect in people suffering in silence, struggling in silence, and not having an avenue to reach out or whatever. And that was me. Unfortunately, I was almost a statistic at age 16. So I carried that information inside for until I turned 31. A lot of years. I didn't tell my twin sister, not my bestie, not my family. I kept it in. And so over the last 5 years of doing it, I've realized that there are so many people who struggle like internally. And you never know what's going on inside someone's head, And so starting Break the Silence was a way for me to say, let's start the hard conversations. Let's bring the community together. And for me, it's always been music. And so being able to have bands come from all over the U.S. and local bands from Fort Morgan and just seeing the support and how well it went over. The first year was really hard. It took me probably like 6 months to find a place that would let me do it. Like I would go in and I would be like, hey, I want to hold this event. And they'd be like, doesn't really make sense. It's kind of still like taboo at this point.
Right. It's
Nobody wants
stigmatism
to-
behind mental illness.
Yeah, the stigma is huge, and
Yeah.
it's still a huge problem. And like after, like through the pandemic and everything that happened, and the suicide, numbers of suicides just absolutely skyrocketing. And then I
Right.
think in 2018 was when they had to change the statistics to include the ages 8 to 11 and 11 to 14. And I'm just like, how is this a thing? How are these children?
Yeah.
And it's like the cyberbullying and the social media and just having these ability to like, not be held accountable for the bullying that's going on. And even in the schools on their it's just so hard to enforce it when it's Snapchat or something like that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like instantly gone as soon as you open it or whatever. So I started it because I wanted people to know that they weren't struggling alone and that it is okay not to be okay. And that, you know, it does truly make a difference to talk about it. And I have come a long way. I was in a very bad place just with like my own mental struggles. And I actually was riding a high, if you will. I had been diagnosed bipolar, and they thought, well, I was riding a manic high. Turns out 3 years later, after finding out, you know, getting the diagnosis and being on all these mental health meds, I don't have bipolar. I have a hormonal imbalance. So we've gotten that figured out, and the last 7 months has been extremely great. Like knowing that I didn't just take what the doctor said and rolled with it. It was making me sicker,
Right.
you know, but I still struggle with anxiety and depression, something fierce. And it's kind of like having, you know, the evil twins, not just one, but you got both. I also have lots of like obsessive compulsive tendencies since I was a little kid. So I just thought, let's do it. Let's get it out. Let's do this. And the first year we covered all of our costs. Actually, we've always covered all of our costs, never lost any money doing it. That's how I know, like, I'm on
Nice.
God's path. I'm doing it the right thing, you know, for people who are struggling and they are reaching out. And I actually wound up after year one, ended in September. Things got really bad. It come to a head in about like November. I was actually ready to, like, I was contemplating, I was like thinking of a plan. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. The stress was terrible. And I was like, maybe I'll just like sink under the bathwater and not come back up. And I had a knock on the door, and it was my little girl. Mommy, you've been in there all day. Can I have a hug?
Oh, that's right. Your mom. Oh.
And I told her, no, leave me alone and go away. And it like crushed her. She literally started crying. And like at that moment, I was like, what am I doing?
Or it scared
Like
her.
she was terrified. Yeah. And like she was at the time she was born in August of 2013, 14, 15. So she was just barely 4. She had just turned 4. And like, she knew that something was not right, you know, cause mommy cried a lot and mommy was angry a lot. There was no happy median. And so turns out I was actually in the middle of they don't call it mental breakdown anymore because it's like derogatory or whatever, but like that's what was going on. I was having a mental breakdown. And I reached out to my psychiatrist lady who I hadn't talked to. She was like, well, you know, I think this is what's going on. And I was like, peace out, Girl Scout. That ain't me. And 5 years went by, and I was like refusing to admit that I had issues that needed addressed. Oh, I'll just take some Prozac here or there and I'll be fine. I'm feeling better. I don't need to take it anymore. That kind of thing. So having Abby, you know, give me that, if it wasn't for her knocking on the door, what would I have done? You know, would I have just, you know, would I have been able to say I need the help? But I literally, and it was Thanksgiving Day, you guys, like my family was on their way over. Nick was making dinner. I had an explosion of anger like right before, and I'm like super open about talking about it because it's real and it happens. And so many people are like, oh, I'm going to be labeled as that crazy person, and maybe I am psycho. Like, I can't believe this is happening, you know,
Right.
whatever. But like, I was vacuuming, and my new vacuum that I had just bought, like when we moved into the house, was like it wouldn't stay. Something was up with it, and like it wouldn't, like when I put it up, it wouldn't stay up. And then when I tried to do the carpets to take the tool off, it wouldn't stay up. So I got angry, and I remember just like picking up the vacuum and hucking it. Bullhucker. No, I hucked it across the freaking room, and it hit the wall and exploded. And then like
boy.
dust and everything flew everywhere, all over the hardwoods, all over the living room I just cleaned or whatever. And my daughter was downstairs playing at the time. And she heard the bang and came running upstairs. And like, I was angry, and I was like spewing hateful things at my husband at the time. And I don't even remember, you know, I don't remember what happened. It was like a very emotionally charged thing, but he was like, why don't you just calm down? I'll take care of it. He's amazing like that. Always still is. Like, he's still the first person I call when I have struggle, and be like, you know, you're still my best friend at the end of the day.
That's very cool.
But yeah, and it's like, it's great to have that support system too, you know. Maybe we just got married too young and we grew apart or whatever happened, but like I met him when I met him in 2004, and we got divorced in 2018. So I was like my whole adult life, you know. So
Right.
we still lean on each other. And he's like, why don't you just, go and take a shower, or like sit in the bath or whatever, take a time out. And, so it was literally like 2.5 hours that I was in that bathroom, just crying it out, screaming it out, slamming the door, slamming the window, whatever. And the bathwater had gone cold twice. So I was like, maybe I need to, maybe I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just like over it. And she came knocking on the door. So I called and I left a voicemail and I'm like, look, I know I haven't talked to you in a lot of years. I'm ready to admit that I have some things going on that need addressed. I don't know if you remember me. It's been like 5 years or whatever. She didn't check her voice message, obviously, because it was like Thanksgiving and she was off Black Friday. But she called me back first thing on Saturday morning and was like, I do remember you. Your file's in cold storage. I'm not taking new patients, but I'm willing to pull your file out. Can you come see me on Monday? And I was like, yeah, I can come see you on Monday.
It's very nice.
Good.
So yeah, she did save my life by recommending me in. So we tried for about 4 months. We tried to, get a treatment plan going and figure out like a diagnosis, and like shit was getting rough at work. Like with my friends, I was like alienating everybody. I hated my job. I didn't have a good relationship. Even though they were like trying to support me, I was angry all the time, and I took it out on the people that I was working with. And, it got to a point where it was really ugly. And I had been with, not the specific company in Morgan, but I had been with, that company for a decade of my life. It was like the semblance of normalcy that I had. And so she told me, she's like, you need to take some time off and you need to really work on yourself. And I was like, self-care, what the hell is that? It's still hard for me. And it's been 3 years, but like, she said, it's very imperative that you take some time off and take care of yourself. And I was like, cool, I'll take a couple weeks off. I won't leave the house. I'll just eat a bunch of crap and watch a bunch of TV and be a lazy bitch. This is great. I'll get a recharge.
Right.
Take a couple weeks off. She's all, no. She's like, I highly recommend. And at this point, my mom was in the appointment with me. I can't remember if my sister was in this one too, but like I always needed them to go to like, so that I could be accountable and real about what's going on, how ugly I had gotten.
Yep.
So I couldn't just go and like tell her what she needed to hear to give me a good leaving. Yeah, you're fine. You're doing better. Things are great, because that's how I rolled at the time. Yeah. And so she's like, I want you to call this place. It's called Life Healing Center. It's a 28 to 35 day program. It's in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I want you to call them and I want you to be real honest. And I was like, whatever, I'll call them, whatever, but I ain't going, so I called them and they called me back the next day after the intake and they're like, you're a good fit for the program. So it was like dual diagnosis. So it was mental and a substance abuse. But it was also, very holistic. They had a shaman, a doctor of Chinese medicine, equine therapy. So, really opened my mind. I did go. I wasn't feeling it like for the first few days or whatever, but actually the first thing that I learned there was hope is real. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And every day is a new day. No matter how dark it is. My mom always used to say, no matter how dark it is, like the sun will always come up tomorrow. Life is worth living. Just keep living it. Just keep one foot in front of the other. So I went to Life Healing Center in April. I was there for 28 days and it saved my life. Opened my mind up to a lot of things. I came out of there, did the second year. But it was a struggle, with the meds and all that stuff. And, the doses just kept getting higher and higher and higher. We got to find the right dose and it wasn't working.
You have to find the right fit too. I mean, 'cause
getting sicker and
everyone
sicker.
works different.
Yeah, exactly. So some people can metabolize certain meds and other people can't. They actually have a DNA test now that you can go and like submit and they can tell you what drugs your body can metabolize and what drugs they can't. So I probably wish I would have done that sooner.
Yeah.
But fast forward, even though I went to this life-changing experience and I went to my therapy every day, every week or whatever, my psychiatrist every month, like it was still spiraling downhill and like becoming out of control. And
still something
I
missing.
was like, hanging on to it. And then the opportunity presented itself. We had enough profit after year 3 to start. And that was the year that I got divorced. It was just like a super mess. It wasn't the greatest turnout. I was like super stressed out. And turns out it was our most profitable year, even though it was the year that the less people, came to the event because there was the weekend we picked had a bunch of stuff going on. We had enough money left over to bankroll the nonprofit. to get it all filed, to get get the fees to do the nonprofit and
Right.
get the lawyer fee to review
Yeah.
everything and all that. We were able to do that. And it was like a second chance almost. I'm like, this is great, but I'm still feeling at this point like lost, like a lost puppy dog. Am I doing the right thing? I'm like a floundering ship at sea, and I was always very pessimistic, very negative, glasses half empty, not glasses half full.
Right.
And I met he's become a really good friend of mine, at this point. It's 3 years later. I met, do you know Matt Jackson? He does 9 Stories Creative.
Yeah, his dad works at Leprino in the yard shack. Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never met his dad, so I can say. But
Tim's
I
a
know
good
he
dude.
worked at Leprino for a while too.
What's up, Tim?
Yeah. Hey guys. Hey. So it was him, and I have to credit him for this. And a lot of people had been telling me the same thing, but it was like they weren't outside the box. They were too close. They were my family. They were my friends, and I wasn't able to listen to them. Not that I wasn't willing to listen to them, but for whatever reason, I wasn't able to hear what they were saying to me.
Yeah.
And
It's easier on the outside looking in.
is so much easier. And I was in my little bubble, and I was always uncomfortable speaking publicly. This time 3 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, it's really cool, but no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do this podcast. What's that? I got to talk in front of people. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But he had told me, I love what you're doing. I think it's great. And it was kind of how also for him, it was a good thing for both of us to have had our paths cross the way that they did, because I think it was one of the first videos where he actually was able to help somebody tell their story. And he was like, I love it. And it was like the response was something crazy, like 13,000 views or something like that on Facebook.
Nice.
And it was like an eye-opening experience for me, because he kind of asked the right questions to draw me out, but didn't make me feel nervous about it. And I remember saying I can't do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't want to put the video out there or whatever it is. I can't do the interview. And he
Right.
said, you just be, somebody had told me that I needed to watch The Secret, and it was around the same time. And I watched The Secret, which is all about the power of positive thinking,
Right.
The law of attraction, which if you haven't watched it on Netflix, the documentary, it's like an hour and a half.
Asking you shall receive kind of thing.
Yeah, basically I was manifesting all these terrible things because I was dwelling on the negative. I had no gratefulness for the things that I did have. I dwelled on the things that I didn't have. And Matt had said, all you got to do is start by sticking your pinky toe outside of your comfort zone. Get outside of your bubble and become comfortable outside of your bubble. Pretty soon, your bubble is going to shrink to the point where you're not going to have a bubble anymore. And he was so totally right. I have completely turned, and it's taken all of those 3 years. I think for the last 7 months or so, I've been more riding that power of positive thinking, laws of attraction. So we've been able to do so many amazing things since COVID, since the pandemic happened, and everybody was losing everything. I wound up losing the job that I was working after
Right.
I came home from the treatment facility. My stuff was packed up and my replacement was hired. And I understand now, and I know that it was the right thing for everybody involved. But at the time, I couldn't see past that. I was
Right.
extremely devastated. 7 months went by and I didn't have a job. 8 months went by and I still didn't have a job. And I wound up taking a side job. My Aunt Missy actually hired me on at the new dispensary when they opened at High Plains in Log Lane.
Oh, nice.
And it was the most amazing stepping stone that I could have ever been offered. I'm so extremely grateful for the fact that she was able to help me out that way, because without that stepping stone, Break the Silence never would have morphed into a nonprofit. We wouldn't be where we are now if it wasn't for that. Step outside your comfort zone and then let me extend a helping hand. So those two people, a lot of people were instrumental in that, but those two really stick out in my mind. Get comfortable out of your comfort zone. We decided through the pandemic, I ran it by my board because a friend had approached me, was like, we need a resource center. We need something. We need to make it known what you're doing, but also give you a place to help people where people can come in and do support groups, and all this would be a free grant funded program, And I'm like, cool. So in March, we were like, yeah, let's do it. Oh, wait, the grant application process is due in 2 weeks and we need $45,000 to show that we have community support for this. So we just threw it out to the universe. We hit every place. Me and my secretary, Tabitha, hit every single place that we could think of that had helped us out in the past. We put it out on Facebook. We did videos. We did a fundraiser between the in-kind services and the cash donations. And in 2 weeks and 2 days, we raised $63,000.
Damn.
Very nice.
For the resource center. So like, I'm going to cry. I was like, not going to cry doing this. I'm not going to cry. But we have the building. We're waiting kind of just to get, the bids and like we applied for the grant and unfortunately we did not receive the grant that we were hoping for to do the capital, like to do an expansion and like build out and all this fun stuff. But we did raise enough money to turn the building as it sits, open it up, get the electrical and like all the stuff we need for like ADA compliant
Sure.
and just to be up to code or whatever. So we are in the process of like cleaning out that office space and like getting the contractors in. So hopefully by the end of the year we'll have that up and running, and we have received already upwards of $20,000 worth of grants for the building and for the festival. So it's been
Wow.
amazing. And
Very
it's
cool.
kind of one of those things where I never have in a million years would have thought that it was, but I feel like it's like my God-given path. And I am literally blessed to be able to wake up every single day and keep doing it. Then just keep helping people. I'll answer the phone. I'll answer the text messages. I don't care what time of day it is. I got to probably put that boundary up because, I need it. Having the office, I think, to give me that boundary because I don't have really boundaries and I'm always in work mode and it damages relationships with my family and my friends. But, without this amazing support system that I have, not only is this the 5th year for the festival, we're pulling out all the stops. We're going to be the biggest that we've ever been. We have like amazing kid stuff going on, poker run, show and shine, silent auction, all these fun things that I always wanted to do, but never figured that I would be able to. And yeah, just super blessed and grateful to be like rocking and rolling for
That's
it.
awesome. Kelly,
When's
that's
the
awesome.
festival?
Love it. It's on September 4th, so Labor Day weekend. And it's a
September 4th,
free,
okay.
all ages, family-friendly show. We have some amazing talent coming, like Vinny Montez being our comedian, which is going to be
Vinny.
freaking awesome.
Vinny.
Hey, Vinny. We're going to be coming out with a really cool like promo video just for the talent as well. We released our Suicide Awareness Festival video 2 days ago for this year, so it makes me cry every time I watch it. Thanks, Matt Jackson. You're the best. But just working with like the radio station to get our name out there, and it's just doing interviews and hearing like so many people on the street. Hey, I saw your video at the movie theater, because we'll run it for a month, in between like the what's it called, trailers or whatever. So
Right, yeah.
it's just been so crazy. Like sometimes I have to pinch myself to be like, it's real. And like people are approaching me. I had the Mendenhall experiment. This guy did a documentary, Mind Over Matter. You guys should look it up. Sumerian Records did it on him. He has cerebral palsy. He was told at a very young age he would never play an instrument. He was like, my left side is, paralyzed from the cerebral palsy. When I move one finger, they all move. He retrained his body and his hand to move so that he could play the guitar, and he's slaying it. From Los Angeles, they're driving out here. They approached me. I was like, I got a contact. I got the contact from a friend of mine out of Louisville who heard of Break the Silence. And I'm just like, we're doing an event down there next year. And I'm just like, we're actually national. Like we are outside
cool.
of Colorado. So yeah, it's mind blowing.
Excellent.
Cool.
It's super cool.
That is cool.
I'm like, do you guys think that was all real?
Yes.
I love
Yes.
it.
Again, I want it so bad to be true.
I
I can't lie about this
Damn it.
kind of stuff, huh?
yeah. No, the Break the Silence. I'm glad you talked about it. I was hoping you would. So
Yeah.
Uh,
I can't not talk about it.
Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
all I I live for it.
before I forget to ask,
Yeah.
you have a website.
Yes, it is www.breakthesilenceinc.org.
So on the bullhucker.com, you can check that out. I'll put that on the link on your
Sweet.
webpage.
Thank you.
And you know what I completely forgot to do is thank the Sands Theater, by the way, for letting us do it here.
Yeah, thank you so
Sands.
much,
Uh,
Sands.
the-
Love all the work you've been doing.
Brush Chamber of Commerce is like that ungrateful
So
bastard.
excited.
So, but yes,
You remembered those, so you're fine.
right. The bullhucker.com is where you can find all our stuff too. If you're checking this out on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification button. Okay, so it'll
The
give
bell.
you the bell. Thank you, and it'll give you a notification when we post new videos every Tuesday. If you're listening to this on a podcast such as Stitcher, iTunes, what do you listen to, Miss?
It's on
Oh,
Amazon.
I follow it through Facebook. Sorry.
Facebook? Okay,
Yeah.
all
Sorry,
right.
I'm not technical. I'm just
Make sure you subscribe or you like the page or whatever that the particular platform asks you to do. So now what we do is we have to try and decide which one we think. And how we do that, Kelly, is we paper, rock, scissors to see who has to guess first.
Awesome. Okay.
How do
I
you
love
paper, rock, scissors?
it. Like 1, 2, 3, go.
So you go boom, 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 and then shoot?
Yeah.
Okay.
1,
Oh,
2,
she's a
3, go.
4.
She's a 4 pumper. What are you?
We're 3. We're both.
We're both 3 pumpers.
Okay, cool.
Did you know there was a difference?
No.
Neither did we until we started doing this. And
And Abby's always winning too. I suck at paper, rock, scissors.
really, is she a 3 pumper?
Yeah, she does the same as me.
Oh, dirty 4 pumper. All right. Ready?
I feel like she's waiting to see what
Okay.
I do.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Damn it.
One. Whoop whoop.
Do you have one in your
Luck
head
is changing.
that you're picking?
I'm pretty. No.
No? I
It's gonna go eeny, meeny,
I
miny.
do. I do. Once again, break the silence I think is true.
Yes,
And thank you for telling that story. That's a very
Yes.
beautiful story.
Thank you
know,
for letting me.
it's very important.
you had said you're on God's path many times, and I'm not a huge religious guy. I do believe in
Same.
God.
I have
you know?
spirituality. I have my beliefs, but
Yes.
I mean, I'm not judgmental in any aspect, but having the faith and saying the thanks to, it's made a whole world of difference. I used to
Yes.
actually believe in nothing,
Right.
and that's probably why I was so angry and empty for a long time. But I'm more of that spiritual, like, life after death. Our bodies are
Sure.
just a vessel,
Yep.
and we're here for this time, but our souls live on. I just
Right.
think that that's so beautiful, and I hope it's true, so I believe in that.
But
Well,
I
and plus, when you find, like you said, when you find the path that you feel like you were meant to be on, you
Dude,
just,
everything
you feel
just
alive.
lines up.
You
I
just-
don't have to push for
Yep.
any of it. And all the things in the past that have failed, I've had to, like, try to force things into play.
Yep.
And everything just, like, I told Tabby the other day, or like a while back when we were setting it up, and I was like, through COVID, we were able to set it all up, social distancing plan, everything in like 2 weeks and 4 days is what we had to do it. I'm like, this year it'll build itself.
Yep.
And it has.
But the point I was going to make was I
Sorry.
believe no, that's
Squirrel.
cool. Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Squishy.
Squishy.
The Lord does work in mysterious ways, so
Mm-hmm.
He probably sent your daughter to bang on that door and stuff like that. That
He
happens.
sent my daughter to save
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
And I
You
was
know.
resigned myself that I just, unfortunately, I lost a baby when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that that's what happened until it happened. So I wasn't aware that I was pregnant. Probably should have, maybe it would have made a difference. In my heart, I don't believe it would have. But I wanted to be nothing more than a mother for my entire existence. And I didn't get blessed with her until I was 31.
Right.
So I feel like I was a little bit older, and at the time in my life, I needed her. I
Right.
need her every day. She keeps me balanced.
So yeah, I think he.
You are so right. He did.
Yeah, he does. He does. He has sent certain people in my life at certain times that it's. I feel that if they weren't there at certain times, I wouldn't be alive
Yeah.
today because I've made some pretty stupid decisions in my life.
Same.
that.
I have
I
never
feel you.
contemplated suicide. That's not something I've ever dealt with
Right.
or serious
And it's
depression.
so heavy.
But I have dealt with massive stupidity for most of my life. You know what I mean? Man, it's like
Self-induced.
Oh my God, dude! Like,
It's okay. You made it this
Uh-oh.
far. You're gonna be fine.
I know Mary Lundstrom looks at me and she's like, "How are you still alive?" Oh my God! but
But I love you for it.
I love you, son. Yeah. So I think to break the silence, I would say that's probably true.
Yes.
I am going to tend to think the tornado one is true.
Is it though?
I think it is.
You're calling Bullhucker and Danny DeVito, aren't you?
I am calling Bullhucker on the Danny DeVito. I think that was a great story. I think you went to Disneyland, but
I
I
get to
think
show
that
you?
not yet, because she has to guess still. So I'm gonna go with Disneyland.
Well, then I'm going to go with Tornado.
Do you have a reason? Were you gonna go with Disneyland?
No, because I want Danny DeVito to be true.
I know. Who wouldn't want Danny DeVito to be true?
So you think the break the silence is true?
Yes.
Okay.
So then it comes down to, 50-50 on it, and partly just because you have a bad track record. If you go Disneyland, I'm going Tornado.
That's shitty. That's a shitty thing for her to do, but probably smart, but shitty.
I
So,
dwelled
So
on
either
it,
way, one of us
too.
is probably right then.
yep. Okay.
Okay.
One of you are right.
So then she, hasn't beaten us both like when I did, and I beat you both.
Oh, dirty. Kelly, whip it out. What's up? Disneyland is not true.
It was so true up until the Danny DeVito part.
Right. I mean, you know what? I will give you props for bringing his name up because that's a.
You know what? I was like, what am I going to do? For real. Like, how am I going to, like, come up with something fake? Because I'm
Right.
like, I cannot sit here and lie. I can't tell a fib. I can't
Right.
look somebody. It's just my character defect or whatever.
Right.
I can't do
It's
it.
not a bad thing to
Like,
have.
I get all sweaty and, like,
Right.
but so I can't. That's why I was like, oh, my God, I have to lie to you people? Like, this is going to be hard.
I've heard over and over that this is the hardest part of this podcast.
Yeah.
The funnest
Dude,
part.
for real, I came up with it last night.
Okay.
I was just like, I'm going to go into detail about how great Disneyland was because it was, and Abby had a wonderful time.
Right.
But how am I going to make it like believable? And Abby was like, just say it was like Demi Lovato or something after I told her, because she's like, who's Danny DeVito? And I was like, it has to be. That name popped into my head. I hadn't seen
Right.
any Danny DeVito movies in so long. And I was like, yeah,
Right.
it's totally
So
it.
that's
He
what's
was there
smart
with
about
his
it was
son.
it's a very recognizable name,
Yes.
but it's not such a huge superstar.
Star that there'd
Yeah,
be
that it wouldn't be
glamour,
unreasonable.
craziness around it.
I don't know
yeah.
why. And I was just
No,
like,
that's a
why
good
Danny
pick.
DeVito? But
That's a good pick. The tornado one just
Was.
seemed very believable. That's
Yeah.
why
it was so funny, dude, for real. I kind of want to go to my mom and be like, where's the tapes?
right.
Where's all of our shenanigans? Because there was a drawer full, I remember at one point, of VHSs.
I have a box full of VHS tapes that I've saved throughout
Yeah.
our years of
We
growing
did
up and
terrible
different
things
stuff.
to my parents too. Like, I can remember being in trouble, like having like a DEFCON 9 meltdown after Amy and I would be like fighting and being terrible, and like we'd turn around and they'd be videoing us. Prove that you did it. Prove that you were little assholes. No, they didn't ever say
Damn
that.
Harris
but
twins, you know.
those,
Well,
those
MTV was
Harris
kind of new
twins.
when we had our video camera. So me and my brothers, we always liked to make music videos.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I
Michael
remember
Jackson
when they banned
and
MTV.
Samantha
Remember that?
Fox.
I was so
and-
mad.
They banned MTV.
They banned MTV here for a while.
Oh, I think I was. When I was growing up,
didn't have it.
MTV. Well, see, it was weird because MTV played music videos.
videos.
I mean, I know what. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
I
like-
remember
God.
watching all the crazy music videos,
Right,
like, you know,
right.
like the old school 70s and 80s stuff.
Yep.
that was our
Pink
generation.
Floyd and
There were so many times growing up in school that they would actually. That was our treat. Someone would tape like Headbangers Ball. Remember that? They
oh
would-
my God, I do remember that was on late at night.
Yep.
And we would
And we
sit
were
there and
supposed to
watch
be in
it.
bed and we'd sneak there
Right.
in the basement and turn on the TV.
Right.
But yeah, I think for a couple years they had banned it.
Okay. Well, we're gonna wrap up here real quick, but I do want to ask you something, Kelly.
Yeah.
So, if you had any advice to give somebody that's hurting out there that needs help, what is your advice?
Just pick up the phone and call somebody.
Okay.
Even if you feel like nobody's there to listen, hit up our website.
One more time. What is it?
www.breakthesilenceinc.org.
Okay.
Just ask for help.
Yeah.
It's one of the strongest things that you will ever do, and it will change your life.
And it's hard to ask for help.
It'll save
It
your
is.
life. It is.
That's
and
the
it's so
hardest
hard
first
because you
step.
can say, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. And I'm an empath. I'm a very strong empath, very intuitive. So you can tell me, yeah, I'm wonderful. Things are great. And I can feel it.
Right.
And it's so hard to be like, why don't you just tell me the truth? You know what I mean? So reach out to somebody at work. Maybe you work for a company that has HR. They have programs that'll help you
Right.
get into counseling, that'll maybe even pay for appointments. Even if you don't have insurance, like, there's options.
Right. I need Doreen Hills here in Brush does it across the street actually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the name of her company. I need to ask her to be on
The
here.
Center for Trauma and Healing and Trauma Attachment or
Yeah.
something. I always say it wrong.
So they did a benefit and I DJ'd for it.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She is amazing. And the across the street, what it is if you are hurting, you just go in. I believe Miss Becker works there.
A
Miss
walk-in?
Becker Brown. So
Oh, cool. I didn't realize they had a walk-in. I knew that she moved to Brush and had open. But yeah, you can reach out. There's the Colorado Crisis Line. There's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline.
Right.
Those are 24/7.
But I
You can
mean-
you can talk to them, and if you don't feel comfortable talking, they'll text you right back.
Right.
And it's a live person. It's not a recording.
right. But that's the hardest part, right? Is admitting
And being
and putting
honest
yourself out there.
and being able to realize that you need help and you can't do it yourself. When you open up, you got to be 100% honest.
Right.
Because if you leave things out, it's hard for your recovery. Like,
Yeah.
recovery is an everyday thing. Once you begin your recovery, you'll be recovering for the rest of your life. And there are so many resources and things, even when I started doing this, that I didn't realize were out there. And in this community that there are. So that's why we want to open the resource center, to give a place where you can walk in and be like, I don't know where to go and I don't know what to do.
right.
So
Well, and I love the name of it, Break the Silence, because I mean, like we said previously, I mean, there's so much
many.
stigmatism against it, and
Right.
I think in the last year, especially with the pandemic, everybody's become a lot more vocal about it and a
Yeah.
lot more open and understanding. And
I have a buddy who was very angry. He used to be a very angry man, and he just started going to therapy. I mean, it got to a point where he lost his family over it. You know what I mean?
And I was that person.
And you know what? He's not the same dude anymore. He's happy. He's joyful. I'm the angry one. That's what, you know what I mean? So he's like, calm down there.
See, my
Calm
anger
down,
drove my
stupid,
so
you
my
know?
depression drove my anger, and it crumbled a lot of relationships, including, I think it played a big part in my
Right.
marriage crumbling. I mean, Nick had his struggles and stuff like that with sobriety, and he's amazing things now. I think that like having us have to split and work on ourselves, we're both in a great place and right where we should be.
Awesome. Kelly, thanks so much for
Yeah,
coming on.
thank you. Thank you for having me. This
No.
was so fun.
I'm
Not
glad
gonna
you
lie, I
enjoyed
was
it.
like super nervous about it.
Everybody is super. Would you do it again?
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you. Yeah. so-
Totally. I'm like, I'm not saying that at the end.
Yeah.
I didn't think that when you said
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'll do it.
That's how I whore this out. I whore it out. So, and Missy,
Shit.
thank you for coming on. It's
Yeah,
fun
thank
for
you
me to
guys.
have her come on because we've been friends for so long.
Yeah.
So it's
So you have that dynamic. It's
yeah,
fun.
yeah, we do. So, but thanks for coming on, Miss.
anytime, Blair.
All right, guys, it's
Blair
Bullhucker.
Bear.
Clear. Peace.
Thank you.